In the historic National Building Museum, 700 people gathered on June 3, 2019 to celebrate twin anniversaries. First, the 85th anniversary of the founding of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission.
Someone talked about Ronald Reagan's, shining, city on the hill. And the SEC, I can tell you, having worked internationally, I can tell you the SEC is definitely looked upon as a sort of a vanguard in investor protection, in corporate governance to the rest of the world. So it's 85 years of brick by brick building of that shining city on the hill.
The other landmark anniversary, the creation of the SEC Historical Society. Tom Gorman, a partner at Dorsey & Whitney and the current chairman of the SEC Historical Society, talked about the journey leading up to this milestone event.
There's a second anniversary that we need to celebrate tonight, and that is the founding of the Securities and Exchange Commission Historical Society about 20 years ago. That came about because of the unique vision of three gentlemen who are here this evening: David Ruder, Harvey Pitt, and Paul Gonson.
The three founders were then highlighted in a tribute video. All of this is because of founders who had the vision to take a dream and make it a reality. Then it was time for remarks from former SEC General Counsel and SEC Historical Society trustee Dan Gelzer.
It was a privilege to work closely with them at the SEC and a privilege to work with them on the initial board of the SEC Historical Society. Now it's my privilege to present each of them with a token of the Society's respect and esteem for the role they played in bringing the Society to life. Please join me in a round of applause to thank David, Harvey, and Paul for their commitment and hard work in establishing the SEC Historical Society 20 years ago.
After bestowing these honors on the founders, Dan posed for pictures. Then the conversation shifted from the history of the agency to the present, as the current chairman of the SEC, Jay Clayton, spoke about where we are today, but also referenced history and showed how it helps to shape the SEC on a daily basis.
For each challenge we face today and those we will face in the future, I am confident that we are at our best when we start by asking the question, how did past commissions handle similar issues? So I'd like to finish by thanking the SEC Historical Society, including its Executive Director, Jane Cobb, the Board of Trustees, the Board of Advisors, and the many other hardworking staff. The Society plays an important role in documenting and preserving the SEC's history, allowing current and future generations of commissioners and staff to learn from our predecessors.
The evening's program was followed by a dessert reception where attendees reflected on a special night with special people.
I think the Historical Society is really important. It does a really great job of keeping and building the community and kind of bringing us all together for events like this that sort of commemorate such an important organization like the SEC.
Oh, it absolutely is the people, and that's what makes it so special. Both the times at the SEC and the times after, which, the community continues.
I think, looking past and looking at history is a great way of making sure we don't repeat any mistakes, and it is a great way of learning from past successes. And having the 10 chairpersons there was fantastic because they're Republicans, they're Democrats, but they all, you couldn't make out what political party they belong to because they all work towards a common good. And so the SEC Historical Society, codifying those values and making sure that past, lessons continue to sustain, it's a very, very important role.